All right, let's go post this link. If you were watching, I got knocked down some of the sun. All right, I was just glowing in the previous video, and so it seemed to be a little less glowy. All right, I put a big old piece of board there, and still tons of light. Oh goodness, these cheapo video cameras. Let me go post today's link on our page. The page is jollyrogerukulele.com, and from there you can get all of our sheet music and all of our goodies and become famous and end up traveling the world with your ukulele, making a shocking amount of money. And it all starts right here by learning to play ukulele instrumentally rather than just sing an instrument. Hit update and see if the link works, and we will keep moving forward. Valerie's here. She says I'm sounding good. I've got my microphone right there. You're supposed to not notice it's there. All right. Hopefully I will try to speak. I got a different setup a little bit here today, and it's the problem is that the sun has now moved so far south that it's blasting into here. So I'm going to have to get this giant window cover, I guess. It's just so much sun. You're not gonna be looking at me anyway, right? I am here. Me being here is almost irrelevant. You're really here to work with me on playing sheet music, and so that's what we'll be doing. Let's make sure the link is working properly. And get rid of this. I have my window open, which means wasps come in here sometimes. I was hoping that we had a cold snap a few weeks ago. I was hoping all the wasps went away, but apparently not. All right, let's see here. Scroll, click, and we're ready to play. Ah, beautiful. All right, so grab out your key of G arpeggio, and let's talk about why you have two arpeggios in a row. Kind of rude. I'll get my thingamabop started up. Let's see. Who else wandered in here? Nancy's here. Good to see you, Nancy. Donna is here, ready to go. Donna DeVee today. I like that. Brig is here. Evelyn, no break for you today. Oh, you have a oh, I did not know that you were doing volcanoes. Don't do volcanoes. That's worse. That's worse than anything, right? Volcano is apparently what caused the. My understanding is, and my science knowledge is only what CNN tells me. The reason dinosaurs were a thing was there was a volcanic eruption. British Columbia-ish, I guess, that did an extinction of whatever animals were wandering around then, which paved the way for dinosaurs. And so then the dinosaurs, I think it was an asteroid that led to the dinosaurs going away. And so when I hear volcanoes, I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear volcanoes because that means that we're done. Yeah, I think... they say, I don't know if it's true. I was in there. There's a volcano that's under Yellowstone that if it ever goes off for real, that's it. We're done. So volcanoes make me nervous. My friend Lanny, who has a place in Hawaii, the volcano that they had all those problems about 2 years ago now, where the volcano was wiping out a bunch of people's land over there, and his property basically was the edge where the lava went down, so his property was fine, but other people's nearby were not fine. Let's see. Hey, Vic. She's in Vic's. I think she can actually breathe the air up there today, which is exciting. Melissa's back in. Hey, Melissa. Uke is in from Argentina. Let's see. The caldera. That's what it's. All right, there you go. See, that's what I keep you guys around. You know stuff. And Linda's in. Hello, Linda. I hope your air is a little better than it was. All right, so we are going to be playing the key of G arpeggio. And guys, normally for this, I don't run them one after the other. But the problem was, in order to deal with the baritone players at the same time, I didn't have time. Theirs got messed up, and so you guys got messed up. So now normally I don't teach you key of C arpeggio on Thursday and then teach you key of G arpeggio on Monday. That seems a little rude. But normally what we would have done is you would have gotten key of C arpeggio earlier in the week and then had some songs, then the key of G, and then key of G. But as of today, after today, then you're back in regular programming. And we're going to be moving on to the key of F arpeggio. So I do apologize that you ended up with 2 arpeggios in a row. But here's what I can assure you. If you can master them, you're going to be a much more competent and better sounding and just generally a better player. These arpeggios are important. They're not there just to give you something to do to make it hard. They're really designed, if you are a singer, for you to play arpeggios while you sing is going to change. It's going to change everything about what you do in the sense of sophistication, beautiful sounds, really making your ukulele come alive with something really worth listening to. I'm going to make another modest adjustment. I'm trying to figure out how much junk I want you guys to see. I'm just trying to deal with this window being so bright, and I'll get that fixed hopefully this week. So these are not just meant to be exercises. These are meant to be things you can actually use in your playing to make you sound much better. And then this key of G is really the end of the music we were working on last week, which was in the key of G. So I spent a lot of time working with people on the G chord, because when you first start, that's kind of a bummer to deal with. And once you get where G's happening for you, then when I introduce you to B flat, you're a little less devastated. How about that? All right. So let's see. Linda, you're just into listening today. Okay, Linda, good to see you. I ordered some temporary highlighter tape that I plan using on the music, like the melody that I'm playing. I hope this will solve perhaps me playing the wrong line. Yeah, great idea. Let's see how it goes. When I played piano, I used to take a highlighter and run it along the melody line, the right-hand line for piano music, because in piano music, you're often, especially when I first started, I was playing a lot of, modern pop tunes, and there's usually a vocal line along with the piano part, and it's very normal when you get to the end line, you go down and you start playing the vocal line rather than the piano line. And so I used to take highlighter and just put it through the melody line so that my eye would track properly. But I think, yeah, some of that highlighter tape might actually be a really smart idea. Again, that will eventually go away on its own, but in the beginning, it's very normal for your eyeball to track to the wrong lines, and you're like, gosh darn it. But the reason that's you have all of those lines there, the more lines that you have on a piece of sheet music, the better it is for you, because when you really become competent, you'll be like, well, I want to play it this way today. I want to play it that way tomorrow. I want to play it this way with my friends. I want to play it. I want to just sit here and feel sorry for myself and play this particular line. Today, I want to close the doors and sing, even though singing is not my thing. So yeah, just I give you guys lots of opportunities to play these pieces of music in different ways. And the key of G being a notable exception to that. And so using highlighter and doing tons of writing on the sheet music is really to your long-term advantage. Don't try to keep the sheet music neat and pretty. It's not good. It's not necessary. You should make your sheet music messy. Oh, I didn't know you were a retired librarian. Oh, Melissa, we can no longer have any more conversations. You have officially outclassed me in all possible ways. On Twitter, I follow all these librarians because they're hilarious. And one of them is Fake Library Statistics. That's one of the names of one of the Twitter accounts I follow. And they're always like, 3 out of 4 librarians want this. And it's always some absolutely silly thing. And yeah, I didn't know that. All right. So talk smart, you guys. Melissa's in the house. Let's talk about key of G major. Okay. G chord, index, middle, ring. index, middle, ring, right? That's your G chord. Dun, 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 dun. Then you're going to go to an E minor. To get to E minor, drop your index finger, add these two fingers like that. Okay, and just nice little stair step. Index, middle, ring, nice little stair step. And there's your E minor. C chord. In this case, normal, a lot of times you're going to be on E minor when you go to a C. So rather than doing a bunch of extra work, just drop your middle finger down, play the C minor like that. And then D chord, index finger on top, middle ring. Okay. Index, middle, ring, just like that. Okay, there's your D chord. And that's it. Every single song. Well, that's not true. There is one technical thing related to C and D that I want to show you. So let's slide down to measure 13. Now, when we first meet this chord, you're like, this is stupid, but this chord is going to be incredibly helpful for you down the road. Measure 13, you have a different type of C chord. You have a bar chord on the 3, so you bar up and down on the 3, and then you're going to put your middle finger on the 3rd string and your ring finger on the 4th string. Okay, very easy for me to do after 20 years of playing this instrument. Not so easy for you to do on day 1 of playing that chord. Okay, this chord is going to turn into B flat this week as we work on in the key of F, but for now it's a C chord. It's on the 3rd fret here and here, and it's going to sound like a C chord. Okay, a little bit different than this C chord, but it's the same basic idea. Just a different, they call them inversions. Okay, in fact, there are ukulele teachers here in Denver who are selling that class. Come learn about chord inversions. Okay. It's called a bar chord, and bar on 3, middle ring. Okay, and then so you're going to get that on 13. Good chance yours is going to sound like this. Okay, let it be that way. You're just not quite strong enough to squeeze all that stuff down yet. You'll get there. In the beginning, this is perfectly fine. Squeeze as tight as you can to get that. Okay, and as you squeeze tighter, you're developing this muscle. Like I can feel my muscle really doing a lot of work here. In the beginning, you don't have this muscle well developed, and so when you squeeze, it's like, ow, I'm really squeezing like the dickens out of my ukulele. But you kind of have to do that in the beginning. To develop this muscle. Once the muscle is well developed, then I'm not actually pushing that hard, but it's, because I got some muscles there to get the job done. Okay, so there's your C chord. And then if we slide this up, now when you get to there, don't pick it up and rethink it. Measure 14, just slide up 2. Okay, so you're hanging here on C, you're going to slide up 2, and that's a D chord. This is a high D chord, bar on 5, same shape in front, middle and ring. Again, yours is probably going to sound like that. Don't worry about it. It'll go away. It'll get better. Okay. So from C chord, slide up to D chord. Okay. Now, we're not going to be strumming it. We're going to be plucking the whole way. So it's going to end up sounding like this. And the real takeaway there is you've got your C chord on. Don't lift it up, slide up, and then put everything back on. It's way too much work and way too fraught with peril and error. Right? So once you get the shape on, you just slide it up to the next thing. Okay. Then we go back to a bunch of open chords. And so notice at the bottom, measure 22, you've got to repeat. It's going to go back to the top. And then, so we play that first page twice. And then measures 23 through 30, straight melody. When you see a straight melody line like that, your goal is to play it as pretty and as clean as you can. Going all the way to 10. I didn't play it that clean. So your goal is to play that nice and just beautiful where every note matters. Then it measures 31 through 40. Notice your glissandos show up. So now we're going to be playing with this. And we'll also probably, instead of playing a strum and then pluck, 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 we're probably going to go strum, pluck, pluck, pluck with our thumb. So you're really going to probably play that entire section from 31 through 38 all with your thumb. Because those are all nice, soft, pretty ways to play that. And then when you get to 39, then you don't really have a choice. You do go back to plucking play. So the last two measures ask you to go back into your claw position. All right, couple of thoughts over here going on. Well, Melissa's okay with arpeggios. Good. Uh, uh, no, that's not true. It absolutely matters that the fact that the what we call it, the caldera, absolutely matters, right? Because our world is fighting back against our craziness that we have done, and the caldera is likely to happen again. Thanks for knowing stuff, Melissa. If I need any other information, I'll check in with you. I am desperate to figure out what the name of that movie was with all of the Cat Stevens songs in it, and the hearse that he built himself. Uke Noob, I'm having issues with the D chord. I found YouTube someone teaching this chord, barring strings 3 and 4 with the index finger, and then string 2 with the ring finger. Barring strings 3 and 4, 2, like that. All right. Like that. All right. Here's the thing. And Uke Noob says, you and I've never got a sense to give you a handshake, right? Here's what happens. If you're a man, it's entirely possible that you have gigantic hands, right? And you got real thick fingers, possibly. Okay. So if you have hands like mine, you're fine. Okay. My normal side, the kind of hand you'd expect, right? But everybody's got a different hand set. So men or tall women will have much larger hands, right? And a lot of times, even if you're not have a larger hand, it is possible sometimes you have what I call sausage fingers. I don't know any other better way to describe them, where you have really thick fingers. And then you have a problem, right? Because getting those guys into here is a challenge. Now, I have never seen a bar chord here with this down here. There is no way I would ever recommend that, but if it works for that guy, good for him. He's come up with a way that makes sense. Here are the things you need to know. If you have big fingers and you're playing a tenor ukulele and you still can't get your D chord on well, you're probably a baritone player. Okay, so that's one way to think about it. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. If your fingers just flat out will not fit in that space, then you probably are on the wrong instrument. Next thought is the only adjustment to D chord I ever recommend. Let me get my coffee out of the way because we're about to get nasty here. And guitar players, they have a whole lot more fret room to do crazy stuff like that. You just don't. I don't know. I consider that crazy. It works. I see what he's up to there, but there's no way there's nothing about that shape that mirrors anything else we have to do on the fretboard. This is just this one-off situation where he figured out how to make that happen. And honestly, I just don't think it's a wise idea for the other chords you're going to have to do. The one thing I recommend, if you have a tenor size ukulele and you're pretty sure you can get your fingers in here, this is ideal, right? Index, middle, ring. But if that doesn't work, the one thing that I do sometimes recommend, index finger on 3, middle finger on top, ring finger on the bottom. Okay, so that's the only legitimate change that I make for some people, and that's when they have real big hands, but they can get this one done. So that one's okay. This is what I want you to do. This one I can live with you doing. If you don't have a tenor size ukulele and your hands are not fitting in there, like there's a concert size ukulele, and you can see, man, I am really squished to get everybody in here. I'll put this one way back here and these two guys kind of up higher to get them in there. And it works. But I have relatively thinner fingers, and so it works for me. With that D chord, the other thing to think about, I have had lots and lots of men, and I think one woman who had some pretty big hands, where we just weren't, it wasn't going to happen. And so in those cases, I recommend a full bar on 2 and your pinky on 5. You have to do the pinky here because otherwise you're playing a D6, and that's going to be a different chord. So you have to put your pinky there to get this other D chord. Okay. And so that works. Now, to the point about the guitar player who's giving you this other possibility, I would if it works, it works, and I can see what they're up to there. And if it works for you, that's okay. I just don't think that's what you certainly don't teach anybody else that. But if it works for you, you can say, you know what, I always thought this, but this is how I do it. But Gary says, don't teach anybody this. We want everybody to do, you want people to do standard fingering because there's a reason why this is tuned this way. There's a reason why we teach all this stuff. It's because it's not so much the D chord, it's whatever came before the D chord and whatever's coming after the D chord is going to play a role in what type of fingering is wisest here. And it's not accidental how everything is set up and how we want this done. It's really set up for this to be the correct chord. And as you know, on a guitar, this is an A chord, and A chord's best friend is D and E. And so that all is real nice and convenient and pretty. When it moves over to ukulele, where it's in a different key, now you have that same shape, but it's all squished down in this little space. And the question is, are your hands just too darn big to play ukulele? I have had a couple of guys like that. That's when you go to baritone, okay? And that's when you decide, well, I'm going to be teaching this, but I'm going to just teach all baritone players because I don't know. I'll have to go back and forth between my chords. And so, yeah, long discussion about, hey, here's this unusual solution to a D chord. Works for that guy, might work for you. Certainly don't recommend it as a approach to ukulele. How about that? Yeah, it's a G7 fifth. Yeah, try that and see. Okay, and that I would much rather you do that because that shape actually, while this shape is not ideal, it does have a friend sitting right down there exactly in G7, and so it makes sense that that's the shape that you could, but theoretically seeing it evolve into something else. And again, if something works, it works. Just be aware that you've come up with a cottage industry solution that's not really standard issue and not necessarily something you want to take out into the world. All right, let's play this song. Okay. First, grab your G chord. And then remember, you're now on the upper strings. The previous song we were on the lower strings. Now we're on these upper strings. So grab 3 fingers up here, thumb, index, and middle. And we're going to play those. So plunk, then thumb, index, middle. Then you're going to change to E minor. Okay. Then you're going to plunk, middle, index, thumb. Then you're going to go to a C chord. Grab the C chord, probably with your middle finger because this just drops down. Thumb, index, middle. And I know it says 0, 0, 0, so you shouldn't have to grab anything. Your ukulele will sound better if you grab the chord. Plunk, thumb, index, middle, and then we'll do the D chord. Plunk, middle, index, thumb. Go back to the G chord, same idea again. Plunk, thumb, index, middle, E minor, plunk, middle, index, thumb, C chord, plunk, thumb, index, middle, and then D chord, plunk, middle, index, thumb. Okay, and now we go to measure 9, we're going to go to a G chord, but now you notice you're on the lower string, so your hand drops down, thumb, index, middle, plunk, plunk, pinky finger is going to reach up to 5. This might hurt a little bit in the beginning. This is a shape that is coming up, and it is something you're going to want to be able to do. G chord with your pinky out 5, and the truth is you can probably do it. Maybe not yet, but you can. Okay, grab 2 of those. Go grab your D chord. I'm doing, you can do this G chord, D chord. Stay on the bottom 3 strings. Repeat the idea. Here we go. Bar on 3, A shape in front, 4 times. Slide up to 5. Now notice the next section, we're going to be using all 4 strings, so I'm going to leave all 4 fingers on each of these strings. Grab your E minor. Okay, so every finger has a string assigned to it. Pluck, 0, 4, 3. C chord, G chord, D chord, E minor, C chord, D7, G chord, and D chord. We're going to take the repeat, go back to the top, we'll play it the second time through all together. Grab your G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we go on to page 2. When I see pure melody, my thumb is immediately ready to go to work. Grab the 2s, go. 5, 5, 0, 0. Finding your 10. 10, 10, 9, 7, 5, 7, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 5, 2, 0, 0, 2, 3, 5, 2. Okay, now grab your E minor, thumb glissandos, go. 0, 4, 3, C, O, 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 G chord, 0, 2, 3, D chord, E minor, C chord, G7, G regular, D chord. Get ready to go back to your claw. G chord, D7, and then 3 Gs. Let it ring. That fermata is important there, right? It's saying do not let go of this no matter what. You shouldn't do it anyway, but we do. No, you should never do that anyway. But the composer is clear. Let this ring until there's no further sound coming out of this instrument, and then let off your thing. You should also know on the software it makes the ending sound better. Okay, so you've got a lot of pieces and parts on this piece of music. We will play it one more time through. The nice thing is here, guys, there's nothing on this page that isn't going to come up. Every single one of these chords is going to come up, including the weirdo C and the weirdo D at measure 13 and 14. Those are coming up for you as an instrumentalist. Being able to pluck that pure, sweet melody line right through 23 and 30, you're all over the fretboard, so getting comfortable with where is 10, where is 9, where is 7, how do I get to those effectively by changing my positional playing of my left hand. And then finally, when you get to 31, doing everything you can to make that sound as smooth and as pretty as you can with those glissandos, opening chord, bum, bum, bum. And so the whole thing has a really nice, nothing in this piece of music is weird, like you're never going to do it type thing. The other thing is all of these skills, if you can master all these skills, you are going to be a very fine musician because you've got complete control over your right hand, which is the harder part of the two, I think. Learning to get your chords on correctly is something that will, once you kind of get the general gist, it sort of becomes very repetitive. But over here, finding your way through song after song after song, you're going to have new ideas and new ways of thinking about that. Cute. And now, how do you define arpeggio? What is its purpose? So an arpeggio is a broken chord. Okay, so here's a C chord. If I pluck all those notes in some order, it's now an arpeggio. Same exact thing, right? C chord, arpeggio, C chord. All I'm doing is breaking it into its components. So instead of everybody at once is a C chord, I'm playing a G, followed by a C, followed by an E, followed by another C. The faster you play them, the more chord-like they get. The slower you play them, the more arpeggiated they get. And so that's an arpeggio. It's just a broken up chord. It's just a chord where you're breaking it into all of the pieces and parts that are making up that chord, and then making sure that those individual notes sound out above the rest of the chord. Okay. All right, let's do it one last time, just as written. I'm playing it about 80. Okay? It's supposed to be played at 120. That tells you got room for studying it at a higher and higher rate of speed. So I do not want to go fast. I don't ever want you to play etudes at full speed until you're absolutely got all of the skills mastered. So what I don't want you playing fast, crash, stumble, fast. Right? That's what we don't want. What we do want is you to play as slow as you need to get this soft, beautiful, steady, very well, it's all quarter notes for the most part. I mean, it just never stops. They just keep coming at you. There's just that, keep that pressure on. And if you find yourself, oh, I blew that note, whatever, just let it go. That's what we're working on. From the top, we'll play the first page twice, then we'll play the third page, and then you will have done another lovely arpeggio for the week. Okay? From the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. E minor. C chord, D chord, G chord, E minor, C chord, D chord, G chord, other strings, pinky, G chord, let it ring, go, G chord, pinkies, D chord, fancy C chord, fancy D chord, E minor, C chord, G chord, E chord, E minor, C. G chord to the top. Nice, right? Sounds pretty. Nice piece of music to just get your final pieces and parts in place. So if that's going pretty well for you, you probably arrived as an instrumental ukulele player. If you're fighting your way through it, spend a little bit more time on it, slow it down, see if you what you can do. All of this stuff is going to come up, and so it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. It will make your playing so much more sophisticated overall than just what with strumming the chords or plucking the individual notes in and of themselves, but bringing all of those tools together in addition to taking the chords and breaking them up into their constituent parts. Um, Left hand is tired. You moves like, ow, this kind of hurt. These chords are not advanced chords, but they are certainly chords that are not standard issue, right? I mean, you are not going to run into a bar chord C in most programs ever. And in instrumental ukulele, you run into it almost right away because it comes up, and you're going to need those shapes, and you're going to need to know, hey, there's a D sitting there on the fifth fret, and that stuff comes up, and you're going to be using that to your advantage. And ukulele players sometimes have a little resistance to that. They're like, why would I need that C chord when I have this way easier C chord to use? Well, because you're an instrumentalist, and that means that the melody is not always going to cooperate. The melody is not always going to stay way down there at the bottom of the fretboard. And so we have to get used to it being moving around on the fretboard. That means we got to use the same exact chord, but find it further up the fretboard. And so that's what it's there for. All right, very quickly, I'm not here tomorrow. I have jury duty, and so I will be. I don't know what I will be doing really. So you have the day off technically, but you have the key of G arpeggio to work on, which I would love for you to. I'd love for you to use this time slot to your advantage, right? You've got your sheet music from today. The next two pieces of music, Simple Gifts and Carnival of Venice, you might as well spend a little bit of time not having to listen to me playing through those. Both of those are beautiful pieces. Neither of them is super difficult, right? So they're both sort of designed to give you a chance to find out what the key of F is all about, what's going on with how F chord works with C chord, and they're both really nice pieces. So go ahead and print those out, get those in your book, start messing around with those. Key of G arpeggio, Simple Gifts, Carnival of Venice is going to be our week's work. I kept it light this week because I'm not 100% positive whether I'm going to be one day at jury duty or more days at jury duty. So I didn't want to overload you and then not be able to follow through. So you have those three pieces are posted and ready to go for you. And you'll use this time slot tomorrow to continue your own further ukulele education on an independent basis. That's what we say when we're not going to be here. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. I will see all of you on Wednesday, hopefully. And that's what I know. If you haven't already downloaded the full arpeggio book, you really want to do that. It's got 30 of these arpeggios in there. The first 10 in the suggested learning sequence are all going to come up in your life. They're all super helpful. The following 20 are just for those of you that are gaga for arpeggios. So there you go. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, Melissa. You noob. Q. Who else am I missing? I know saw a few other people. Linda was in. See you in a few minutes. Oh yeah, remember we have advanced ukulele coming up next. I don't like the word advanced. I think next level ukulele. What are we studying in there? Oh, Beautiful Dreamer and Genie with the Light Brown Hair. Yeah, I have to explain why. Yeah. So yep. All right. I'll see some of you in a little while. I'll see the rest of you on Wednesday. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Whoops. Yep. You're welcome, Greg. See you, Nancy. I forgot my saying. Do good. Be safe. Do good. Be safe. Practice. Keep showing up. That's the key to being a player, to being legit. And subscribe and like. All right. Yeah, I hope I don't get picked either. All right. Good. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.